Everybody, we are back. It is Tip to Live's Favorites Podcast, Favorites Channel, Favorites, everything. We are back. You guys already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, subscribe. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the dislike button if you don't like it. Leave a comment if you like it. Leave a comment if you don't like it. Also, follow us on Twitter at the Mark John NFL for me, at mholder95 for Matt, and of course, pandasubs.com. Discount code 25% off using TDL as a discount code. All right. Matt, we are back today doing some more draft stuff. Doing Tyler Shough and Will Campbell, right? Because you never know what the Raiders do at 6. It could be they took a tight end last time, so
yeah.
We're gonna look at all these guys, and of course Tyler Shough is the talk of the town. So it gave me my chance to just I already had a bunch of film cut up for him, so I just put it together. And so we're going over that today. So mostly draft stuff. I mean, nothing really going on.
Yeah. It's quiet. Next week, it'll pick up next week. Combine, everyone in the same place, same time, and the rumors will start flying off the shelves. I mean, we already saw Stafford he officially got permission to seek a trade to see what's out there. I'm sure we'll get some news on that next week. 5 teams are interested in him or whatever, or something like that. But yeah, been pretty quiet. The Shough news, I mean, literally shook us all up, I guess. With Cozell calling him what QB2 and whatnot. I feel like he's been gaining a lot of steam basically since the Senior Bowl. Because I feel like no one really heard of him, no one really talked about him until then. He comes out and he was I forget which team he was on, but he was there their quarterback of the week or whatever.
Yeah.
Impressed there. I mean, I flipped on his film after that, and it's pretty nice. But the biggest question is, he's I think Justice Mosqueda pointed out today, he was in the same recruiting class at Oregon as Penei Sewell and Javon Holland. Holland is looking for his second contract this offseason, and Penei Sewell already got his second contract. So that's the one hesitation. I mean, you're not too worried about age with quarterbacks. We kind of went through this with Michael Penix last year, but the biggest thing is for me, Shough and part of it was injuries. When you're 25, 26 years old, I kind of hope that you dominate a bunch of 18 to 22 year olds. But his tape is impressive. He definitely has plenty of arm talent. It's just a matter of, man, this guy really took 7 years in college to finally put it all together. Again, injuries were a factor in that too. So he is kind of this year's Michael Penix in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think that when you watch him on film, it caught me off guard. It did. I remember after the Senior Bowl, I went and watched him. And just because, all the buzz he was getting, and Dave Brugler said he was the best quarterback there. And he did look good at the Senior Bowl, but it was just kind of a little bit of an afterthought, because you're thinking that maybe it's just something he was just looking pretty good out there. He was with Dylan Gabriel and all those things. And you can still make the case that Gabriel maybe played a little bit better than he did out there. So he was kind of a little bit of afterthought to me when I was out there. But he did look good. However, when I went to the film, I was like, oh, it caught me off guard. I wasn't ready for it, to be honest. And it shocks you a little bit because it's pretty damn good, right? And when you watch it, and then you add everything in, the age and what you're talking about, how long it took you to put it together, and it makes you kind of want to go back and watch maybe the Texas Tech stuff and see how you looked back there, because the Texas Tech fans that are Raiders fans, they like to tell me that Tyler Shough sucks. So,
and I don't blame them because he wasn't good for them. You know what I mean? That's the crazy thing. If you think about it, he was Justin Herbert's backup for 2 years at Oregon. Not just even 1 year. It is wild. But again, like you said, if you base it just off of last year's film, you're this dude's legit. This dude's a legit quarterback prospect. And then it's when you take in the whole picture, you're oh. Okay, but the film is very nice. It's an interesting situation with him. He's one of the most interesting prospects, probably the most interesting quarterback prospect in this year, just from that standpoint of what do we need to put a ton of weight into. He will test the theory of do quarterbacks does an age of quarterbacks prospect really matter?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because even just looking at his stats here on PFF. 2020 at Oregon, you probably remember this, Matt. He got a chance to start.
Yeah.
And he had a turnover-worthy play rate of 5.3.
To put it in perspective for you, he lost the job to Anthony Brown, who, if you remember from the Raiders, like lasted. Did he even make it to the preseason?
Yeah, no, he didn't. I think he played one game.
He played in one preseason game?
Yeah, one preseason game, I think. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Nate Peter, like they brought in Nate Peterman as my boy Nate Pete to replace him. Yeah, Anthony Brown beat out Tyler Shough took the job away from Shough at Oregon. Yeah.
Is it Shough? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think that's how you say it. It's Shough. It's weird.
What?
Show. It looks like Show, but it's Shough.
Is it Shough? It's Shough? Okay. Tyler
That's
Shough.
how much of a conundrum he is. You don't even know how to say his name right. His name doesn't even can't even pronounce his name like the way it's spelled. That's
some German, right? That has to be German or something, man. That has to be something. Yeah. That's funky. But yeah, but this year his turnover worthy play rate was 1.8. So yeah. It's an interesting dynamic in my opinion, just to watch him. But obviously he always has had the talent. You're like, is he just finally putting it together? You know what I mean? It's weird. It's a weird thing. But I'm gonna deep dive into him. What about Will Campbell?
Yeah, so Campbell's an interesting guy. I mean, I think he's an option at 6. The big question is what position he's going to play. I honestly, like, I wish I had a better answer for you. I don't quite know. Like, the two people who I lean on a lot for those kind of decisions are Brandon Thornton and Duke Manyweather, and they're both split on it. Like, and those guys are like good friends, right? Brandon thinks he's better at guard. Part of it's the short arms, and again, we'll see at the combine how short that really is and how big of an issue that could be. Whereas Duke Manyweather is adamant that he can be a legit tackle and be able to overcome it. I kind of see both ends of the argument or both ends of the spectrum on that. Like, we'll take a look at it. Like, one of the things that I'm first going to show is his like punch timing. That kind of helps make up for having the shorter arms. Yeah. So when I kind of look at him with the Raiders, like if you look at the Raiders' needs, and especially on the offensive line, they could use a starting guard. Jordan Meredith, I think he's exclusive rights free agent, so he should be able to come back, but and as great of a season as Jordan Meredith had, I wouldn't like them to rely on him as their starting guard and at least bring in some competition. And on top of it too, Dylan Parham kind of lost some steam in the second half of the year, and he's going into a contract year. So you're going to need some future options at that position anyway. Mm-hmm. And on top of it too, Colton Miller's also going into a contract year, been banged up a lot. You know, how much tread's left on the tires with him. So the way I look at it with Campbell is you got a guy that could play guard for you for a year, and then maybe you slide him out to tackle. And it's kind of like similar to what I was talking about with Mason Graham, where if you like this guy, just draft him and figure it out. You know, maybe he ends up taking over from Miller down the road. Maybe he starts at guard for you for a year, but you can, if you want to get this dude, he is a legit offensive lineman. That's not up for debate. He is the best offensive lineman in this year's draft class. I don't think you'll find anyone that says anything differently. And he's a stud for sure. So there's a lot to like about his game for sure.
So I got a question for you then. So, because I never heard the guard thing with him. I've never heard that.
Oh, really?
I haven't. So is that like an NFL thing too? Does the NFL think that he should move inside, or is that more like just, you know?
I think it's more draft guys. Yeah, okay. I don't know. I don't know if it's legit from NFL. I mean, again, we might find out this week with the combine rumors coming around, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's mainly coming from draft people, so we'll see.
Okay, because now I'm interested to see what some teams would be concerned. Others, you know, if you talk about some teams will be more concerned than others with this lack of length, but I don't see it as a major issue. So that's Daniel Jeremiah. So that tells me that teams think he might have.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
I was like,
DJ.
Go ahead.
DJ does great work, but a lot of his talk like that is like coming from scouts, which because he's got the connections there, having worked in the league, so that tells you that there's at least a few teams that are worried about it.
Yeah. So that's super interesting because I you know, just from seeing people talk about Will Campbell, I haven't seen people talk about him with guard, but if the NFL is like, oh, he has short arms, they're like, they still like him. He's like, okay, yeah, he can at least play guard for us. You know what I mean? That's their thought process.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So, I mean, if you take a guy who's that talented and can play multiple positions as an offensive lineman, I think that would be. I mean, I guess he's never played guard, so you wouldn't know. But I sometimes, you know, when you're that talented lineman, it's not as bad as a move for other guys. Like you taking a 3rd round guy, trying to move him to guard might be different than taking the super talented guy and moving him to guard, right? Like Zach Martin type of thing. So, but you know what I'm saying? If he could play tackle and he could do both, I mean, that's kind of makes it a better pick, especially with the Raiders having that need at guard, and he could play guard, and then something happens, he could play tackle and those type of things. So yeah, I mean, it wouldn't bother me if they did it. I'm sure it would bother some fans. Some fans would be throwing
the positional value of taking a guard at 6. I mean, the way I look at it too is like you bring up Zach Martin. Zach Martin was a college offensive tackle, moved into guard. If you took Zach Martin 6 overall, is anybody complaining that way his career ended up?
No.
No. If you get a good player, does it really matter? Like, does it really matter in the big picture?
I mean, that's the point of the draft anyways, is getting a good player, right? I mean,
at the end of the day, like we do all this like analytics stuff, just draft good players. Just get good players and figure it out. Like at the end of the day. And like, again, especially like with this year, like with this not being like a top heavy draft, like this is the year where maybe like you take a flyer on a guy that's like, okay, it's not the positional value, but so do you reach for a better position and a worse player? You know what I mean? Like that's at the end of the day, just get a good player at 6. And if he plays guard for a year, and again, literally in a year, we'll be talking about them having, or likely talking about them having a need at left tackle. So it could literally just be one season that Will Campbell would play guard.
Yeah. You know, also, how do they feel about DJ Glaze? You know what I mean? Like that's we're all assuming that DJ Glaze is going to be the starter. Like it's a huge assumption from us, you know, but it's Tom Skulesko's not here anymore. You know what I mean? These guys are evaluate things, and if they think they could still upgrade at that position, then the option is there. So I mean, those things are a factor too. Is, you know, a lot of assuming that DJ Glaze is just going to be the starter, right? And you know, it wouldn't bother me if DJ Glaze was a starter. I thought he played pretty well for, you know, being a rookie. He had some really good moments, but it all depends on how they feel about it. And they might feel a different way about him a little bit, and maybe try to bring in some competition and just not give him the job. So, and then you know, and then Campbell moves into guard if they want to put him there. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do here with this number 6. I mean, they could go anywhere with this, and that's gonna be the which brings anticipation, I guess, to what they're gonna do here, because Mason Graham, Will Johnson, and Shedeur Sanders, you know, could be Cam Warren, could fall. Who knows what happens, right? You know, Jackson Dart.
Tyler Shough.
Tyler Shough. All right, so let's get into Tyler Shough here. All right, Tyler Shough here. So this one, I'm gonna start this off. This dude has crazy arm strength. Okay, his arm is pretty. I want to say it's probably the most talented arm in this draft. You know, it sounds crazy, but we'll watch this. So this is his first throw here. He's gonna be hitting this crosser right here. This guy right here, he's gonna be hitting this crosser here. And you know, you just see the zip on this throw, right? And the thing about it too as well is that there's pressure in his face, right? This against Miami, so they got a stunt going here with the nice little stunt there with the blitz, I believe. And he has pressure in his face. He doesn't really fully step into this throw, so he's just whipping his arm. And look at the zip it gets right there. Like, that's velocity. So the arm talent is pretty special. Like, he can throw from different angles. I'm gonna show a lot of those type of throws here, but just this one right here, like I said, it's a free rusher, sidearm. Because I mean, even if he threw this, what I would say, like a normal release, right? You know, that guy's gonna tip it. He had to throw a little sidearm a little bit, kind of just flick it, and just a strike. All right, here's another one here. This one really shows his arm strength because it's just him going across the other side of the field here. And his little bootleg. We're getting this crosser right here. We get like the tight end for the release at the bottom here. Kind of looks like the drive concept a little bit. Becomes that way. But it's just the arm strength there. It's just.
Yeah, Louisville loved running those little half rolls and throwbacks, and it was because they had a quarterback with a hose.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
You can make it.
All right, like this one right here, and these are the type of throws you can make too as well. I like the timing on this one, this out route. You see him get here on this out route right here. pretty good timing on this one, but you just kind of see the arm strength is just effortless for him to kind of just make these type of throws, man. You could stretch the field with him, and he has the size as well. It's just a great throw right there on the line outside with good timing there. And like even this one, he doesn't even have to fully step into it. It's just like I'll go back a little bit. He doesn't even have to fully step into it. If you watch him here, like he's got this guy free rusher coming, and he doesn't even fully step into that throw. It's just kind of just all arm.
Yeah.
All right, here's it. Never going on play action. I just kind of showed this one just because I'm gonna get more to this later about him kind of being a little panicky under pressure a little bit, because you kind of can see the panic a little bit here, and he does a good job of like getting rid of it, but sometimes it can get a little crazy here. But this is a lot of arm strength too. Like people are like, oh, this is an easy throw. Everybody can make this. No, it's just an effortless flick of the wrist under pressure. Is show from the backside here. The arm is just pretty special. And like I said, when you're watching him in the pocket, it's just you can see the panic. He's under pressure. His just feet start moving really fast, but he's able to get the pass off. He has a good understanding of this offense, which I give him credit for. Like he always knew where to throw the football, but it's just easy, effortless arm strength.
Yeah.
All right, so this one he's doing an RPO here, and he's gonna on this throw you get the slant up here, right? What I like about this throw, he's gonna throw it back shoulder. He's gonna so kind of show it here, boom, right? He's gonna throw his back shoulder. The reason why he's doing that is because number 2 is driving on this slant, right? So he's driving on the slant, so he throws it back shoulder, protects the wide receiver. Boom, great catch by the wide receiver, by the way. People get mad when these guys don't catch this. They drop it, they blame the quarterback when they're throwing that on purpose. This is a great catch. And it ends up leading to a big play because number 2 doesn't make the tackle. And then ends up, I think he has a score here, but ends up being a huge play. But this is great placement on this throw. Like, bam, protects his player. They at least would have got a first down. If he makes that tackle, it becomes an even bigger play. All right, and then this throw right here is pretty crazy because he's trying to go here to this underneath, kind of like basically like an H choice type of concept right there. And he has it, but he doesn't like it for some reason, and that's fine. But you see this guy coming open here late, right? And this really shows our talent. Like, that is crazy, right? Yeah. Like, not everybody can do this. Like, he's late as hell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's arm talent. It's crazy. All right, so this next one right here, kind of show him getting out of the pocket as well. You can see he's athleticism a little bit too. That doesn't say he's athletic as well. It's just he's just talented, man. But it's just like he's so old. This is a great throw. Look at just flick of the wrist, throw a strike there against Miami here. Show it from the end zone view here. All right, stay in the pocket, a little pressure, get out of there. It's beautiful. It's nice right there. Make a play. All right, this one's pretty special too right here. So this one, there's really nobody open. I mean, probably could have went to the check down here, probably get a touchdown. And, in the NFL, yeah, maybe, right? Why would do that when you could do something cool like this? You know what I mean?
Do you have the clip from the Notre Dame game?
No, I do not.
He had one like this where he flicks it into the back of the end zone.
Oh, man. This is what I'm saying. Like, there's nobody open here. Get out of the pocket, flick it, make a play. All right, nothing open. Get out of the pocket, It's just effortless throw, right? Just effortless. All right, so this one too. So on this one, what I really like is that we're getting these you're getting this corner route right here, right? And he wants this dig. It's not open. This one he wants this dig right here when he's in the pocket right there, where you can tell we can see on the backside where he's looking at. It's not there, so he has a little pressure. So he gets out of the pocket and he just flicks this ball like 40 yards on a line for a touchdown. This is a throw. I was like, oh wow. Is this guy gonna go first round?
Yeah. No feet set on, like, perfectly placed, 30 yards down the field. Like, that's stupid.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. We see it from this side here. Like I said, get out of the pocket. And I was supposed to talk about his eyes here. So he wants to dig. It's not open, right? So he gets out of the pocket, gets his eyes upfield, and just perfect throw. For 6. All right, and then show a little bit of his athletic ability here. Him kind of getting out of the pocket, just using his legs on this one. There's a hold there, I believe, but so there's athleticism too. You can use, if you had to keep it on, what Chip Kelly likes to do with, zone read and stuff like that. He could keep it and
Yeah.
he would be dangerous. All right, so one thing I want to point out though is how he handles pressure. Okay, so there's gonna be like some cool throws that you're gonna be like, oh well, that's cool. He really did that, but I think these are things that might pop up in the NFL that he might become Carson Wentz. Okay, all right. So like this one right here against Miami, he's getting sacked here, right? And he decides that he's going to throw it to this guy. Now, this is what I was talking about him knowing this offense because he knew where to throw the football. He knew where this guy is going to be at. But let's just say in the NFL, like these corners move a little faster.
Yeah.
Right. And he kind of just flicks it. And it looks cool. You're like, wow, that's a lot of arm strength. But man, is that a dangerous decision? You know what I mean? It's just, it screams danger.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're just not always as lucky. Here's another one here on this one. See, this is I'm saying, like he's under pressure, right?
Yeah.
And so right, nothing's open over here, right? But he's already under pressure, and like this is I'm saying, it kind of freaks. He's freaking out. Like he doesn't have the guy's like at his legs a little bit. He just tosses it up in the air. It ends up being a completion. It looks cool, but man, let's just say this linebacker finds a way to find the ball in the air, right?
Yeah.
Or anything that could happen. It's just these type of things just don't always go out the way you want them to. Even here's another one that's a great example here against SMU, where he has this guy open, but this guy drops back right into the slant, this linebacker, so he holds the ball, but then he just like flicks it there for no reason. I don't know where he's throwing this ball, and he almost throws an interception. So sometimes, like with pressure, it's this is like my thing with like why I believe like the whole 25-year-old thing and him balling kind of comes into play because like you have pressure in your face and you just kind of just like throw it like I guess he expected the guy to keep running. I guess maybe that's miscommunication if you look at it a little bit, but here's another one where he just kind of throws in the traffic, gets under pressure a little bit.
Yeah.
And there's really nothing there. And like you gotta like you'd rather him come to this wide open guy under pressure, wide open underneath right here, instead of just him throwing it into a traffic like 8 guys around.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of my gripes or like concerns with him is like he'll have a lot of throws on film where he just throws it. Where like again, being a 7-year guy, it's kind of like a lot more questionable.
Yeah. So that's the film overall. Like I said, there's a lot of impressive throws on there, and he has a lot of talent, and maybe there's something there. But I think the pressure is issue with him and him handling pressure, how he plays under it, how he handles like blitzes and things like that. I think it plays a factor because I know you watch Quinn Ewers. I know you done a breakdown of him already. I think Ewers too is a guy that is the younger version of like Tyler Shough, in my opinion. Like a lot of problems that Ewers has, Tyler Shough has. So
I can see that. Yeah. Shough just has more arm talent now. I don't know. Ever since I'm getting on a tangent, but ever since Ewers shaved the mullet, his like arm went with it. Like I don't know. It's like Samson shaving his beard, lost all his power.
Yeah, that is pretty funny. You think about it, but like Shough has more arm talent for sure, but it's I don't know. To me, the 25-year-old thing really, and him just playing this well like this year one time is the main concern. And then when you see him kind of just get rid of the ball and he's under pressure, like in the NFL, like I don't know, bro, it's not gonna work.
He has some bad decisions where you're like you being older and still making these bad decisions is a bigger red flag. That's for sure. Like that's I think and I think part of the difference between him and a guy like a Michael Penix last year and even Jaden Daniels, who was older, coming out of college and had spent 5 years as a starter, is they had at least had like a bigger sample size. Where like Shough is literally just a 1 year wonder and 25, about to be 26 years old. So I think that's one of the other things. Like Penix, like you go back to like what was it, the 2020 COVID season at Indiana, like he had a hell of a season, and then I think even like the year before, like he was good, he just couldn't stay healthy, and then obviously ended up transferring. And then Daniels wasn't what he was in his last year at LSU, but he was still like a decent player at ASU and stuff like that and whatnot.
Yeah, and Daniels had a good year the year before LSU too. He played pretty well. So there's just more history of them playing well for longer periods of time. Just like Michael Penix, I think because he played Washington 2 years, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think the year before that, he looked pretty good too. So at Washington, because I built a lot of his buzz for the draft was how he looked the year before. So I think that's a big deal for me. So, but if you go based on the film this year, I think you can make that case to like, he's more talented, maybe the pro offense things, and I can see why Greg Cosell would say that, just because Shedeur Sanders doesn't have the arm strength that you would love from a first round quarterback. So it's easy. It is easier to do that and put somebody up over them, and that's why I think Jackson Darts gets a little buzz too, because if Shedeur Sanders had arm strength, I think it wouldn't even be like a close thing. So it's all about NFL projection, to be honest, with some of these things. So, but I do think he's a talented guy. It's just, I don't know. I don't know about if he's ready to be an NFL starter or anything like that yet. Yeah.
Again, which a guy as old as he is, you'd hope that you wouldn't have those questions, which is why he's not, or why. Well, I don't know. I guess maybe now he might be in the first round discussion, but why before? The last like couple of weeks we wouldn't even consider that. And before the Senior Bowl, we definitely weren't considering him. Wasn't even in the QB3 battle before the Senior Bowl. Now he is. But the tape is nice. No, the last year's tape is nice, like you showed. Yeah. I'll have to send you that Notre Dame clip once we wrap up here, so you can take a look. It was like that one you showed, but even nicer. He just flicks it in the back of the end zone. It was a sick throw.
Yeah, nice. All right, let's get into Will Campbell, man. Let's check him out.
All right, so I'm gonna start off with what I was talking about a little bit of how Will Campbell can overcome his arm length issue at left tackle, which is basically with his punch timing. Now this is good on good here. This is Kyle Kennard, who was the SEC Defensive Player of the Year and had I think 11 or 12 sacks at South Carolina this past season. I will say Kennard did get Campbell a couple times and probably won the one-on-one matchups with some inside moves. We'll get more on that later, but. One of the things that I think that Campbell does really well is like, as you can see, like he'll make contact with guys as they're making their moves. So that kind of stops them from being able to finish and be able to beat him and knock his arms down and whatnot. And then on top of it too, he can just kind of ride guys by. See a few better examples of it too here coming up. Again, going up against Kennard here. boom, like perfect placement. And even gets a little bit of force here to put Kennard in the ground. Like you can see, like he's making the first significant contact right now. And on top of it too, like Kennard, I think's got decently long arms, but he's able to overcome it because he makes the first contact. Decent hand placement here, right with the right on, close to the V of the neck. We'll see better examples against Ole Miss here in a second, but again, how he can overcome it. This one was probably the best example. You'll see it like he's going up against Jared Ivey, another good player who's going to be drafted probably by the end of day 2 next month. But again, like you can see the punch timing here. Like Ivey's just starting to work his move, and then 2, look at that hand placement, just perfectly right on the V of the neck, and that helps him lengthen his arm. Like Ivey's got some decently long arms, and obviously we can see Campbell's like fully extended here, but because he's quick with his hands, it doesn't matter. And we end up stonewalling him and staying at the line of scrimmage. I think this is against Ivey again, too. I mean, pretty much the same thing. Almost identical reps, right? Like right now. Perfect. Like this is what I'm talking about, where when you have quick hands, like we can see Ivey's hand right here. Like he's trying to start to work a move, but because Campbell like has the quick jab, if you will, to put it in boxing terms, it doesn't matter what Ivey does because he's able to get him and kind of reduce some of Ivey's power. One more time here. Again, same thing. Just locking him up. Like if Will Campbell's not a left tackle, he might be a prize fighter, man. He's got some quick hands for sure.
Yeah. He's strong too, man.
For sure. This is the other thing too. Like if you're projecting him to guard, I think part of it where it comes is he's pretty good on these damn quick sets. Like this isn't quite a jump set where he's not aggressive, and I mean, obviously you can see the end result there.
Kill jumper,
kill jumper, punish jumpers, put them around, punish jumpers, and then finishing the play, which any offensive line coach is gonna love. But kind of where I was going at is like the quickness is also with his feet, like gets off the ball pretty well and gets on top of guys. And again, another way you can overcome some arm length issues too. And again, when you're playing guard, you're going to be doing a lot more quick sets. Like here, we'll get another one. This one against South Carolina again, where he just kind of gets on top of him. I actually didn't realize this was supposed to be a screen when they first did it, partly because the running back doesn't run the screen. But like from a pass pro standpoint, like you can see like just his ability to get on top of guys. Other part about it, his pass protection, he's pretty damn smart and pretty damn good at picking up these stunts. Like Ole Miss in this game, he gave up 0 pressures, and they weren't getting any pressure with him, just beating him one-on-one, even with all their talented defensive linemen. And at the end of the game, they just started trying to run all these line games, and like they weren't looking. Like we just saw that one, the rep before this, you know, it was 38 looping around with 4 coming inside. This time they try the opposite. Same thing. I mean, beautiful part about it too is like he does a great job of helping out his interior offensive line. Like if you watch right here, like he kind of just gives that guy a nice little shove, let those guys pick it up, give Nussmeier a pocket.
He has great eyes, man. He has great eyes seeing those things too. You could tell it.
I like this one too because again, like Ole Miss was trying a bunch of stuff. So this time what they're going to do is they're going to have the end or the linebacker go into the B gap and slant inside and then blitz the linebacker off the edge, but not fooled. As soon as the guy moves inside, looks for something coming back.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. How you give up no pressures to a defensive line that's probably got 3 or 4 top 100 picks. Now, I did want to say, I mentioned this earlier, Kennard did get Will Campbell with a couple inside moves. And one thing I think Campbell has an issue with, and part of the other issue with him at tackle is he has a tendency to overset where he'll kind of like get too far out in his landmark and open up those inside lanes. But the reason why I wanted to show these clips is when he does like kind of maintain his integrity and stuff like that and doesn't get too far out with his first step, he has great ability to like change directions and redirect and be able to watch these inside moves. So it's fixable. It's just a matter of being more consistent with his landmarks. Like you'll see this one as soon as Kennard goes inside, puts his outside foot in the ground, and then opens up those hips. And I mean, we wash him past the center. You got a guy who wants to go inside, we'll take you inside. No problem. Another one here. This one's a little bit different because Nolan's coming in from a 3-tech and then working inside, but I mean, same type of thing. Again, Walter Nolan. We'll see Walter Nolan a little bit later. Walter Nolan did not quite look like a first-round pick against Will Campbell.
Still I'm just watching this film. Like, this dude is legit.
Yeah. Anyways, for sure. The other part of him, and moving on to the running game, one of the areas where I think he stands out the most is especially on these combo blocks, is his ability to get up to the second level. Like you'll see this one, like he's on the backside here with a little split zone. Linebacker walks up late, kicks that guy inside, and then goes up and picks up Demetrius Knight, who's, again, another one of the top linebackers in this year's class. And if the tight end ends up actually making that block, I mean, we'll have a rushing lane for the running back. Again, taking care of two guys there. Next one's just going to be a straight climb against this front from South Carolina. And you can see a little bit of the change of direction skills that I was showing earlier. This time we run that same split zone. Linebacker tries to use his quickness and athleticism to beat Campbell. But again, Campbell, nice job climbing to the second level with pace, but staying under control. And then on top of it, got our wide base here, nice and wide. So when that guy goes to the outside, he's able to stay in front and then just get a piece of him and put him in the ground, create that nice rushing lane, nice little cutback lane for the running back, who ends up, I believe, scoring on this one. Yeah, just put it in. Now this one not quite as clean. Little goal line situation here. Gonna take care of the front side first, and then recognize linebackers blitzing. Kind of has a little bit of the oh shit moment, but again, ability to pick them up. Sometimes all we got to do is just get a piece of that guy, and we create that little lane for the running back. I think this was like 4th and 1, 3rd and 1 that they ended up picking up because of that block. Other part of the running game where he really stands out, these down blocks. Again, another goal line situation. Now he does get a little bit of help because this guy's going to try and swim the guard, and the guard actually ends up missing. But Campbell comes in to clean it up and finish. And to me, this running back, again, this is a short yardage situation. I mean, he's got a chance to just go pick up the first down and maybe even score if he just goes inside. But the running back tries to be a hero and tries to score, and then tight end gets beat and whatnot. But as far as Campbell goes, I mean, it's a great down block to create that rush lane. I believe this coming up is the clip I was talking about with Walter Nolan. Yep. This one, what was most impressive about this one is, like, we can see, like, here, like, he's going up against Nolan, who's playing like a true 4 technique, straight up head up on him. So it's not like he's got a leverage advantage pre-snap, and he's got to kick him inside. So we're just going to grown man him and toss him into the B gap here. Again, Walter Nolan's a pretty damn good prospect in this year's draft class. I love the guy as like the DT2 this year, but not this rep. Campbell gets the best of him, just using his pure upper body strength.
That's what I'm saying. That's what's so impressive. He's just dominating all the Ole Miss guys that are getting drafted.
Exactly. On top of it, too, as far as like the drive blocks go, what's play we got here? Yeah, a little inside zone. Again, what I like too is like how he stays patient. Like with a lot of zone blockings, we want to just take the defensive line where they want to go, and stay a little bit more patient at the line of scrimmage. And on top of that, we'll just catch the guy and then steer him and push him about 5 yards. Create this nice little outside lane for the running back to bounce it. And go ahead and pick up a big gain. This next one's going to be a little outside zone. Again, going up against a wide technique here. Probably not going to be able to reach him. So he just turns it into a dry block. And I mean, we'll take this every single time. Just put the dude in the ground. Give the running back a lane. I don't know where 0 came from or 8 came from, but as far as Campbell goes, that's a hell of a block. So just finishing it.
That's a hell of a play by that linebacker too. Good do it. Oh, this got some dogs in that defense.
They do. Yeah, that's legit. So, I mean, that's where I'm kind of going at with Will Campbell. Of like, you wanted to put him at guard, fine. I just think he's a damn good offensive lineman. Like, at the end of the day, like, I don't know. I mean, looking at his pass pro one-on-one out on the island, looking at him as a run blocker, like, he's pretty damn good. There's very few flaws to him where, like, he's just a good player. And as far as when you're looking at the draft, like what I said at the top, just draft good players. So he's an option at 6. And it's another guy who you just take him and we'll figure it out. We'll put the pieces of the puzzle together later because he can play. That's for sure.
Yeah, because like I said at the beginning, it's all about how they feel about DJ Glaze. And to be honest, just watching that film, he's an upgrade over DJ Glaze. So if they took him, like they want to play right tackle, it's honestly that's not that crazy to me. So and honestly, after watching that film, I'd be pretty excited because he looks legit. I mean, like just technique wise, he wasn't. It felt like he was just so clean. Everything with his hands, it was just fundamentals, right? He was just very clean prospect. Like it feels like one of those guys who's like you just feel like if you take him, you're not going to miss.
Yeah,
he's more of a for sure thing type of guy. Of course, he's always where you want to play him, but watching him like dominate against Ole Miss, I mean that's key film to me because you're going to up against talent that you are going to be facing in the NFL. I mean, all those guys are going to the NFL, basically the whole defensive line. So for him to just like dominate and not give up any pressures against those guys, that says a lot. So that was some clean ass film, man. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, he's pretty impressive. I mean, if you want a deeper dive and want to know a little bit more about Will Campbell's game, like check out Brandon Thorne's scouting report on him on at Bleacher Report, and I'll tell you this: the negatives column is like 2-3 bullet points. That's what it is, and one of them just be like short arms.
He's got short arms.
It's like if that's our biggest qualm, again, get good football players, man. At the end of the day.
Yeah, now everybody's Tom Cable's favorite offensive lineman. Would Tom Cable like him? Probably not. But he's not here anymore, so we're good.
Yeah. Is Brennan Carroll? Is he a Tom Cable disciple? I don't know. Did he spend much time in Seattle when Cable was there? I don't know.
I probably. I mean,
probably,
but hopefully he didn't learn anything. Hopefully they don't try to go. You know what I mean?
He forged his own path. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Panay still has short arms, doesn't he?
I don't think he's super long.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's if the guy can play, he can play, in my opinion. So and look, you can tell from the field that he could play. Yeah. All right, guys. So that's the episode for today. Tyler Shough and Will Campbell. Like I said, we got all these types of draft stuff. Matt will be at the combine next week, so we'll be able to give you that live information there, and then we'll get back to it, and then we'll kind of start in the free agency, and the off season keeps rolling, man. It's rolling. It's moving fast. Is how actually, in my opinion, it's moving fast, man.
I feel like every year it gets faster.
I felt like the combine and the Senior Bowl had like a longer break too. I feel like it was like this is back to back type of stuff this time. So, all right, guys. So we're out of here. Like I said, hit the subscribe button, subscribe. We're out of here, man. Peace.